So shout out to everybody out there that we do have memory for. If you do have somebody in your family that you are in memory of, I do look up to you and thank you for their services. But all right, team, it's time to start Power Hour. And Power Hour is a time that I like to make money, and we're already starting off with some buys. So if you want to come join us with some buys right now, come on in and join the team, and let's add a little bit more to my one that we are watching here into the close, and that is KRKNF. We've been buying it now. We got a 591 average, and we're looking to take this overnight for a possible gap up. Now, there are other opportunities we have on my list, so you don't have to just follow this one. Don't worry. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Remember, that's part of trading is patience. That's a big part. So just because I'm buying this doesn't mean you have to jump the gun. Let's see if there's anything else out there that also looks like some nice possibility to follow up tomorrow. And I like to personally create a watch list. And in that watch list, I put 5 stocks that I like to look for to make money on overnight. And I just finished that watch list. If you're new on YouTube Live or if you haven't been with me before, I actually have a full community of traders on the Simpler Trading website under Stock Snipers. We're in here trading live every day looking for winners. And yesterday to today, we actually made money off of, Friday to Tuesday, so over the weekend, I was over on Marco Island at the Marriott having a nice, beautiful weekend with the family. And some cousins came in town and some nephews from Nashville. And you close out the week at the pool. It was about 8 o'clock when I was buying this CDU. It was like 7:55 right before the close. CDU was actually pushing down from where it was. It actually closed up at 520. It was closing down at 496. I said, let's buy some CDU. Let's take it over the weekend, and look how beautiful this opportunity was. So that's what we look to do day in and day out, and we're going to try to do that again. But CDU was a perfect example of the overnight plays that we like to do every single day. KRKNF 591 average. So I'm starting with that. We've got a total of 1,100 shares, and I probably won't buy more. I'll probably stick with those 1,100 shares at 591. So that is going to be the first official full buy that we'll get there. And we'll move into other plays here, but we'll start with that one. Slower mover. You shouldn't expect as much spike, but also you're not going to get as risky on the downside too. What's nice about KRKNF is it did make new highs of 602, so you would expect it to at least gap up and push above that. And then the support is down by 580. All right, so that's really the first bit of it, but let's go try to find some more. OTC stocks is typically the beginning of my career and then ventured into listed. So I always have tons of different variety of plays that I go after. Also go after options if the stock does have an option opportunity, but these ones don't really. CDU does. If you do want to look at CDU's options, that's the one stock on here that will have options. GoPro probably does too, but they probably would barely move. All right, let's see what else we got here. So far we've only got that 5,100 shares at 591 at KRKNF. Now let's go down the rest of the list and let's see if we can find another stock to take overnight. On average, I've usually, what up, Toby? How you doing, brother? On average, I've been taking 2 trades overnight, and that's been doing really good for me. Friday to this Tuesday, I actually took 3 over the weekend because it was just so much was going on, and I loved it. And good thing because the markets did gap up, and it looks like the momentum's going to continue. So number 1, we have KRKNF. How to read this watch list. If you are not familiar with reading this watch list, you guys can If you have any questions, please bring it up in the chat. I'm always here to help. It's the whole reason why I do these. So the goal is make money from one day to the next on one of these 5 stocks. You buy as close to the support as possible and you sell over the daily resistance. So that's why I put these key levels on there. The daily support is a high a day spot that I look to probably break by tomorrow or by tonight. I would say by the end of the day. I try hopefully to get back above that spot. And then you want it to come back to the daily support and buy close to the daily support as well. So it's tricky because you want the stock to break out, but you also need to enter as close to the support. So it is a little tricky. There is a little bit of skill and there is a little bit of tricking your mind where when stocks go down, you have to tell yourself you want to buy. But that does come with experience and time. Other than that, we're just trying to do that, buy as close to that, sell as close to that, and you're just buying something at one price, selling it higher. You can choose how many you want to do, how many units you want to do. So 1,100 of this is like almost $7,000 is where we're going there. But we're going to look other directions too. The next one is the space stocks, and the space sectors have been hot all day and yesterday. We actually have the SpaceX IPO that's going to be coming out very soon, the beginning of June. We're going to have some SpaceX IPO, and I know that's causing all the space stocks to get the spike. Last time the space stocks got a big spike was when we had that moon mission, and now we're getting another spike. But the only thing that kind of sketches me out is this stock. I don't know why it got this big drop. I'm guessing it's because NASA announced Blue Origin to deliver the first lunar vehicle, which makes sense because they were the one that was supposed to do it. But no other space stock is going down. So lunar does make you a little nervous, but as long as everything else holds, I'll say Sea-Doo is definitely one of those watchers for an overnight play. If you open up, you can see the stock did break out of $6. So you want to see it hold $6, hopefully, and then break back above $6.60, which is already a 10% move. So that's what we're looking for in in this one. The next one, says device unexpectedly stopped. We're back. All right, the next one, HBEIF. This one's actually a lighter volume one. Don't usually love lighter volume stocks, so that's why I'd rather buy low. I'm not going to buy high, but if it does come back down to me, I'll take it at this point. We've got a clear breakout, but the breakout's all the way down here at 75. So that's what you would use as cut. So you do have to be aware of that. Or you use 78. I would use like 77 probably. 78. But if it does dip to me, I'll take it. If not, we'll probably say it's okay and move on to the next one. And that next one that we do have on that list is GLASF. I was debating between this one and UURAF, but this is a cannabis stock that's a clean breakout. The only thing I don't love is it doesn't have a lot of follow-ups. I mean, it is a clean day, but every time it looks like it breaks out, it comes right back down. I mean, at least you get a small gap up there. So maybe we get a small one there. The breakout's 1066, which it is holding. And when the breakouts do hold, that's a clean sign. So technically, that is really nice to look at right now. But it is a slower stock. We have 50 minutes left. I probably can wait a little bit longer for that one. This is a cannabis stock that just recently did earnings, and since the earnings, it's spiked. And then the last one I decided to choose on there was GoPro. And I picked GoPro because GoPro is known to follow up as well. If you zoom out, there are gap up days and pushes. So we'd look for something like that. I like to buy closer to the support. Right now it looks like 120 is the support on the day, but I'd like it closer to like 118, 115. So I probably won't buy that unless it dips, but another one that's still holding there. Altogether, those are my 5 stocks. I create these 5 stocks every day on the Simpler Trading website under Stock Snipers. If you ever want to come join, it's only $7 for your first month. But let's see if we can make money here from one day to the next together, because that is always the goal here. That is always the goal. And do you guys remember last when last week when we were together, we were talking about ZNOG at 50 cents when it was breaking out. I don't know if you guys remember it, but if I zoom out and show you what exactly happened after that, you would be pumped up, and that's what we look to do. That's what we're going to look to do today. But look at this ZNOG move. It went from that 50-cent break all the way up to 62 that next day. So a really nice move. And let's see if we can do it again. All right, so now that we have 45 minutes left in the day, we've got some time. Let's see if we can get our holds. 592 for KRKNF. We're looking for a dip in HBIAF. I'm gonna wait till later for CDU. But if CDU does hold throughout the afternoon, I do think this one has a possible big chance to squeeze. CDU we did take already over the weekend, so I did already make my money off of it. But to add a little more on that might not be a bad idea. So we're going to see if we can add on top of our SIDU mover. And then you have some other huge runners. This used to be a big name when COVID was around. CODX was a huge COVID runner. And look at it now. It's back on the run. It's making a move. We're starting to get a couple of these COVID runners because Ebola is starting to become a thing. There's these new viruses that are coming around that are popping up. And now you're getting these old COVID runners that are running again. Tom's is another one. TOMZ getting a pretty big spike all the way close to $1 here. So we're getting some nice moves. I mean, that's a light volume move, but it still is a pretty big move for a lighter volume play. And you can see that's all it's got is that Ebola kind of thing in its news. Alarming missed technology pretty much. Ooh, they also just got a note that they face possible delisting. So that usually means they have to get above $1. So we can also see some sort of movement in this stock soon because they got to get above $1. When listed stocks go below that dollar point, they have risk of possible delisting. But the government still, or not the government, the SEC, which I guess is the government body of the stock market, does have to come after them and tell them you have a warning and you got to tighten things up around your block. Clean your block up or else we're going to send you off back to the OTC markets and you could come trade with this stock, HBEIF, which is a sketchy mover. But what's good about these sketchy movers is when they get volume, if you know how to play them and you have the right risk levels, they can usually follow up. And what you do want to do is make sure you're out of them before the volume lightens up because then they end up just fading away. So I'm not telling you these are great stocks or these are value stocks to go out and buy forever. I'm letting you know these are stocks you want to flip one day to the next. Yeah, this is live, Jay Davis. I saw we got some questions going on here in the comment box. If anybody wants to ask any questions, let me know. But yes, this is live trading. You can actually live trade with me right now. Buy and sell with me if you would like. Yesterday, we were 4 for 4 over the weekend. I mean, Friday to Tuesday. I keep messing that up. It was a long weekend. I went on a Memorial weekend, had a couple beers on the beach. The beers on the beach will get you. They'll also make you forget to take your glasses off and get this crazy tan. The connection's kind of screwing up here on the live stream. But I think we're back. I think we're back on the live stream. Sorry, the connection's screwing up a little bit. What I'm looking at right now is all of the space sector has been hot lately, not just because of the SpaceX IPO. First, it started from us going to accomplish, and now we're getting a rip again. So beautiful to see. If you are on YouTube Live right now, I did actually make a full YouTube video about this space stock and Lunar back when this stock was in the 2s and Lunar was in the, I think, 12s or something like that, or 15, I'm pretty sure. So great work that these stocks have been able to do and follow up. And it just shows that when a sector gets hot, the beautiful thing that I like to call sector momentum is alive. Haha. Let's go, Jay. Much love. Sign up, man. Free, like I said, $7. Not bad at all at first. It's simplertrading.com. I'll put it in the comment section. Let's get rich together. That's my saying. Let's get rich together. So the only thing I own right now out of those 5 stocks, and sometimes I will buy something off of the other than these 5, but for the most part, I buy something from this 5, and it's made every single Friday. So the one thing that I say, the one stock that I say I am in right now for sure with the full fill is KRKNF, and that's at 591. We'll use this 580 as cut. So if I were to explain to you the plan, it's a slower moving OTC stock. Ideally, it gaps up closer to 620, and we could see if it could push or not if we want to hold it. If it doesn't gap up, we just need to keep it holding 580, and then hopefully it pushes past the high a day and gives us a follow-up day like this. But you do have a slower mover. You know, there's green days that also just follow up and come back down, so I have to be aware of that. If we do get a gap up, that's at least starting with some green. We'll see what we can do from there. So that'll be mainly what I'm watching at this point. But the other 4 that I like, we have HBIF, but I'd rather get a dip, so I'm not going to move my bid up. We'll see if it comes down to me. And then this CDU is still holding. The only thing about CDU is we're on our 3rd green day. Now, 3rd green day is okay because we're also breaking out. But typically I say when we're on a 3rd green day, the odds are against you to start falling back down. Doesn't mean it's going to. There's not an exact science to anything in the market. And that's why I love trading. It's one of my favorite things to do. But definitely one that possibly could gap up. Even if it doesn't, push tomorrow, as long as we get a gap up back above 660, that'll be happy with me. And this is listed, so it'll move till 8 p.m. Eastern. And it's going to open up at 7 a.m. So you got to be ready for it. There is a chance we could, it gets a run after hours too. And that's what happened on Friday, right before I went on the beach, is where I bought and sold this stock. We actually bought it down here, sold it here. And then the next stock I bought right after I sold that was CDU. Late in the afternoon for a possible gap up. So we'll see if CDU keeps holding. It will move till 8, so there is a chance I send out my alert after hours for that one. Just because I do want a little bit longer of a hold there. And then KRKNF, usually I would wait later because, it's a slower mover and I usually like to wait later. But this one came close enough to the support that I'm fine with it. And also, there's a robotic stock out there, RR. And RR is a pretty big runner in the past. And it recently just got a nice spike. And they have earnings after the bell, which probably is going to maybe get it to get going again. Last time this stock got going a lot, it had a huge green day. And then I think it had news with Microsoft. I'm pretty sure it had news with the huge company. And then they came out with an offering like 2 days later and it just sank. But maybe it forgets about that offering now and it turns back up. We're going to find out. Jay, I love that. $1,000 is decent to start. I usually recommend $2,000 to $3,000. So I would say just make sure it's money that it's you're willing to lose. You don't have to desperately need it. But yeah, $2,000 to $3,000 at the beginning is great. They actually are dropping PDT. So the pattern day trading rule is going to be dropped on June 5th. So not for 2 weeks we have. But after this next week coming up, I think PDT is going to be dropped. And we're going to be able to unlimited trade. So no matter what, option trading, day trading, whatever you're buying, you'll be able to unlimited trade. But I personally usually day trade just equity, meaning buying stocks at one price, selling it higher. And then if the stock has options, I do have a small list of options that I'm always watching. The company that I'm under, Simpler, they do a lot of option work. But for the most part, I only do a very small list. Here's a couple of them that I'm looking at right now. But I would say for the most part, I'm doing buying a stock and selling it hopefully higher. So buying something at one price, selling it higher. Like KRKNF, the goal would hopefully be buy it here at this 591 spot, sell it up close to 620, 630, and if it pushes more tomorrow, maybe even 650. I don't expect too much more out of this one because it's a super slow one. Some of them are going to be faster than the other. Cedu is a good example of that. This is a quicker one. I would have to be risking $6, which is about 5%, which is a bigger risk than KRKNF. But the upside on this one, if it breaks high a day, it could definitely go. And if it goes, you can make 15 to 20% on this. Now, if it doesn't go, you're still risking that 5-7%. I would say 5% on the downside, which, in my opinion, that's decent enough risk to reward. And yeah, Jay, thank you for the questions today, man. I'm here to answer. Does anyone else have any questions from the list, or does anybody have any tickers that they're talking about that they want to personally bring up to maybe make some money on? Because the goal is, let's get rich together. That's always the goal. Oh, you lost sound. Hold on. Sorry, Himony. I was resetting that, guys. I don't know if you guys got that sound back, but there we go. Sorry about that. But ideally, just the KRKNF still we have. CDU, I think I might wait till 8 unless we come closer to 6. If I can get maybe close to 6 again, I'll go after it. I did watch this midday, and I really should have went after it then. I do regret it now. I probably would have sold into this spike, but I would have had even more of a cushion now for overnight. So I am definitely a little upset at myself for this midday, but typically the first week, the day of the week, is days that I stay a little more patient and let the things develop on the week. But I do like what I'm seeing out of the space sector. Not only CDU making this huge 20% move, you had SPCE having 3 green days in a row, but it's still now holding 340. And the longer you hold these key levels, the more that shorts really say, all right, am I going to get a gap up again? And if this gaps up again, it screws shorts again. So I do like the look of this as well. It tipped right off that 345 spot. You got definitely 340 support right now. And if you think about this one, if it goes back to highs, you're now up like 15% already. So if space stocks look good, SPCE and SIDU are decent ones. I didn't put SPCE on my watch list, but I like the look of it. On average, I try to take 2 trades a day, and we still have 34 minutes left. So I do find I will most likely be in 2 trades. I'm just trying to stay a little more patient here. But I definitely see myself in 2 trades overnight today. All right, so now is what I like. The reason why I coined myself a sniper is because now you kind of just sit and wait, and you see if there's any opportunity that could possibly you can go after. But usually, what you want to do with opportunities like this is wait, and then when it comes to the last 30 minutes, that's when I say, all right, we're gonna have to start swinging. Just because if it's an OTC stock, it's gonna close at 3, so you only have 30 minutes left. And I always say it's the pressure. When stocks close with a good tight pressure, they usually open with that same momentum. So that's ideally what I'm looking for. Finding those stocks that give you the opportunity, that's usually what I'm good at. And that's usually where I'd say I definitely think the value is, because it's tough to find what's hot out there. There's so much moving, and CNBC and CBC those companies, they're not going to show you these type of stocks. They're not going to show you the right opportunities out there. Any other tickers? ACHR, Himini. Let me go look at that one. So that's another space one that's dropping a little bit. Space is making me a little nervous overnight. That's why I said with CDU, I think I might have to wait literally after hours to see what happened. Also, if you open up CDU for some reason, it is really active after hours. It usually does move a lot. But if you go back to yesterday, it dipped. There's a lot of days it closes nicely and it gets a small dip. It happened to us before, even when we were in the stock. So let's see if that can happen again, maybe even today, and we can do it then. I don't think it really has to be a huge rush for SIDU. But we are at 30 minutes left now. So we're officially in the last 30 minutes, the end of Power Hour. So now let's see if we can make a move on something. SPCE, nice hold of 350 there. Typically on holiday weeks like this, I always say that it's usually a bit slower on holiday weeks, so be careful. But today we are starting off with a lot of movement, so I like what I'm seeing right off the bat. Usually for space stocks, if you are going to take a space stock overnight, I like to look at RKLB as a higher priced one, and this one's making new 52-week highs and it's still holding. And then ASTS is another one in the space sector that looks very interesting. It topped out at 127 today. The 52-week highs is 129.89. So you got definitely some heat coming out of this stock, but it did come from 70 all the way up there. So I have it on my weekly watch list for a possible short, but we'll be keeping our eyes on that. It looks like GLASF, the very slow OTC, if you want to just stick with steady, slow OTCs, is coming up to test highs here at 1090. All right, so let's see if we can get some dips here as we continue to wait. Cedar, nice hold of 6. I do like that move. And what I do like for a healthy breakout is that's exactly it. You break out and you hold that spot. And that breakout is 599 to be exact. So didn't quite get to 6, but it's right above that. So GLASF is going to test highs, but nothing I would say I'm going to jump the gun on. The stock's just so slow. And honestly, this one probably won't gap up too big if it does. But you probably will have, I like to call it old reliables. And what it is, it's a slow mover. You have low risk, low reward. And that's definitely one of them, just like KRKNF here. As it tries to curl back up to highs, let's see if it can get a push at all. So this is the one stock we got at 591 if you want to join in with us here for a possible gap up. Using the 580 spot as cut. So we're waiting, waiting. But it looks like we're getting that old reliable, not much of a push. 25 minutes, still kind of waiting on this, but it doesn't look like we're going to get it. I'm RXC are a really good one, and that's another space stock. So honestly, that's actually a great call. First green, this is another one I was looking at midday, already up almost 10% spot. Really nice first green day. So definitely with the rest of the space sector, without a doubt, this C2 and SPCE, they'll probably follow up together if they do. So you kind of can watch them all together. I'll keep this one pulled up. But that was a really good find there. Tactical trading penny stocks. I can see why you name yourself that. The sniper and the tactical trading go together pretty well. But I love it. Going up right now on the same day that MSOS is also creating a first green day. It's only up 5%, but it's at least a good first green day to start off the week. And with that first green day, you have a couple other cannabis stocks that are moving, not just GLASF, which just I got an alert for that tested highs, but you also have TCNNF up 9% on a first green day. GTBIF of 4%. So you got some of the stuff starting to move. CRLBF. Nothing I'm going to jump the gun on, but I like what I'm seeing there for Glass F. As Glass F does make new 52-week highs here. little move there by GLASF. I'm not going to jump there. So we've got 20 minutes left here. I went after that HE. We're trying to see if we can get a little bounce close. I think I might end up with 3. I'm going to leave some available as well for Sea-Doo. I'll probably be the last little bit, but I'm going to wait for after hours for Sea-Doo. So there's the dip in Sea-Doo. So nice patience. Space stocks have just been up so much. It's tough. But RXT is definitely a decent one too. You can use that 490 or, like all the way down at 460 is cut. But it's definitely. All right. Nice, Johnny. I see what you're going with there. That ENSIF you brought up earlier actually didn't do too bad. The volume came in. That's a pretty big green day there. Or I guess, no, never mind. The volume never came in, but brand new stock that just started up a little bit. So for Sea-Doo, what we're going to wait for is after hours if we get a full hold or if we get a dip and hold. The hold would have to be right around that $6 area, $5.90. Both KRK and F are both ones we'll be watching in the same price range. And then you have this R2. I'm going to go after this HBEIF here for the second one. I know it's lighter volume, so I'm not going to go as much size, but I like it. Boom. So we got ourselves an 8.345 average. Let's see if there's any type of curl here for a possible gap into the close. So 2 OTCs right now. Away from Glass F. I'm probably going to now, but we'll keep watching the space ones. And maybe I'm going to get one of these for possible as the last one for overnight. It is the beginning of the week. I usually stay a little more patient on the beginning of the week. So we'll see if some gap ups can get us back the week with. And after hours, maybe we do something here in these listed ones. Other than that, we have CODX as a possible huge squeezer after hours too. You can keep your eyes on. I'm not going to touch it, but a nice one to watch right at that $10 range. And then RR after should be fun because it's got earnings coming up. And we are in a robotic stock, so we're kind of rooting for this one to go up because it'll probably help the whole sector. So the chances there. We got 45 minutes left. This is the last quarter of Power Hour. Let's see if we can get some pushes. CDU is going to come down a little bit back to that $6 area, so nice patience. In my opinion, it's just up so much I can't touch it just yet. And I was actually so upset at myself all midday because I was gonna buy this dip and I never did. I watched the whole thing, so to almost wait for it to almost come back down to that spot. And we're coming down, so we'll see what happens. I am gonna wait though. I don't think I want to jump the gun and sit there. Alright. So let's see if CDU continues to hold. Now the rest of the space stocks are dipping, as that's what you want to watch. I always like to have, if I do play a sector that's pretty volatile and they're all moving together, I try to have the whole sector up. I have one of my screens, and I have about 8 screens in front of me. Phones too. So I'm watching these space stocks closely, but you can see they've all just took a dip. Nothing too crazy. They're all still holding, but all of them did recently take their dip together. And see probably doing the same. It doesn't seem like we're getting too much push from any of the OTCs right now. We still have the last 10 minutes left, but usually you want them to come back to their high spot into the close. That's ideally what I look for. Not getting as of right now. So CDU trying to bounce once again. Seems like this spot's going to be this. Hours alerts. For the OTC stocks, you don't have to do that because it's not going to move after hours. But for these ones, they're good to know because usually you don't have to just stare at your phone now all after hours. You can wait till you get these alerts, and then at least you know that they're starting to make a move. So I got my CDU alerts in, ready to roll. SPCE, I'll put some up here too. The other space stock that we're watching. And you never know. After hours, if one of them spike, the goal is always to try to find the next one that possibly has the lowest risk and higher reward. So if one spike, maybe you go after the other that hasn't quite gone yet. FLTCF's another first green day play that usually follows up. You can see the flow of the stock. Usually after first green day is a gap, so that's a pretty nice move there. It's that high day. We'll see if that's able to get that gap up. I didn't bring that one up earlier, but pretty nice move there. So SPCE and CEDU, very volatile days here as SpaceX IPO is coming up here in June, the start of June. Both these space stocks have had some pretty volatile days. Both have offered dips, though. Pretty nice range all around. We've got 10 minutes left. Let's see if we can close the day out with a fourth quarter push. That's always the goal when we're getting these stocks. All the semiconductor stocks ended up continuing to spike. Unbelievable runs that aren't stopping, squeezing the shorts out. The better it looks. SNDK all the way to 1600 now. I was using these memory chips forever for my memory cards for all the stuff that I film for my YouTube videos and all that. I've been using these memory cards forever. Should have just been long-term investing them. The memory cards used to cost more than the shares. And now from a $30 share to 1,600, unreal. So both SNDK, MU, huge moves today. And then you have the listed or the OTC one, SIVEF. That's also an unbelievable move. CXAI Himini. So Himini just brought up CXAI. Oh, it's a decent little day. SPCE, nice bounce. Coming back to that 360 spot. CEDU looks like it's going to hold that 6. So those are key levels we're going to be watching after hours for those stocks. All right, let's see what can happen here in the last couple minutes. Now that the Knicks series is over, we sit and we just wait to see who they're going to play. The Spurs and OKC series have been so much fun to watch. The Avalanche and Golden Knights, not as fun, but I am excited for the game tonight for the Spurs in OKC, back in OKC. The Avalanche can get swept tonight, possibly. I do think they're going to win finally tonight. I can't see them giving up completely, but you never know. You saw what happened with the Cavaliers yesterday. So nice hold in CEDU there. We'll be watching it all the way until 8. We've only got 5 minutes left now. So 5 minutes left. The listed stocks are getting dips. I usually like to wait till the end of the day because of this opportunity, then you can possibly buy into dips. So we're getting kind of a smaller dip here in KRKNF. It is a higher, slower stock, so that's all right for now. This would usually be the dip you want to buy into right there. KRKNF, what are you doing, buddy? All right, ideally you close back on the upward side, but let's see what happens here. Either way, no matter what, they're sticking to the cut. And as long as you stick to the cut, you look for the follow-up green day now. Wow, what a sub penny. NMHI has been an unreal sub penny. What a move into the end of the day. 002 to 003. Finally getting momentum. The stock's been waiting. It had defensive news, and defense news is big right now with military, all that stuff going on. So huge move there in NHMI. Remember after hours to watch RR. That'll be a fun one to watch. CODX will be a good one to watch after hours. But RR is a robotic stock that does have earnings, so we'll see if possibly we can get maybe a push there that causes KRKNF to get a little bit of a push. All right, so CDU did hold this HBEIF, nice hold there as well. Does anybody have any questions before we start to clear out here? You sold too fast. I don't know which ones you're selling, but yeah, you got to stay patient. Usually try to stay a little bit longer in these. Just make sure that if they do come down to the cut, you get out. But if not, just hold on. GLASF's coming back down, so nice patience there. Other than that, let's see if we get the follow-up gap up days in KRKNF and HBIF. Sticking to the cut points. For SIDU, I'll watch. If it holds 6 until 8 p.m., I'll probably buy some. I'll let you guys know for sure. If you guys are on YouTube Live or on social media watching this, I do appreciate you guys. I always enjoy hanging out with the team and talking stocks. It's one of my favorite things to do every day. So if you want to do that daily, I do that with my team under the Simpler Trading website under Stock Mavericks. And this is where we create the watch list, the overnight watch list, the weekly watch list for the team. If you didn't read that weekly watch list, definitely go check it out and get prepared to possibly make some more money this week other than the stuff we've already started the week with. All right, we got 2 minutes left. The OTCs didn't get quite of a push. I was expecting more of a push here. They actually both kind of slightly dipped, but that's okay. As long as we hold our cuts, we'll stick to the plan and we'll keep moving on. No matter what, even if you take the loss, you keep it small and you'd be surprised what you can do. Oh, there's a buyer at HBEIF, baby. So this is what I mean by coming in the last minute and starting to get a buy. You're getting it there. It's starting to come in. Let's see if there's any type of push on top of it. Here we go. Right back to highs. And if it does gap up, so we're already up $200 there, just like that. Nice volume. You close into strength. You possibly gap. Hopefully it keeps pushing. I always describe the water hose that closes strong, opens strong. Look at this NMHI. Wow, what a water hose. Talk about a strong one. 200%. It was literally just holding 0018. Another one right from the weekly watch list that we talked about this morning. KRKNF. That was a weak. It's okay. At this point, we just hope that we can gap up to start the day and pushing. All right. So if you did enjoy this, like I said, I'm live twice a day, every single day with my team. Would love to see you tagging back with us. If not, I'll be back here next Tuesday. Tag a Bag Tuesday. It's a thing that I'm trying to do, give back to the trading community, because I do think the trading community does need it, especially with PDT that's about to be dropped in a couple weeks. But all right, there is the close. I like the KRKNF. It bounced back to 590. We'll take it. HBIF closed up by 52-week highs, looking for the gap up in both. We will take it. Keep an eye on Rocket Labs and SPCE, SIDU, and the rest of the space stocks. RXT, also RR after hours for nice earnings play that could possibly make a good move for KRKNF. Appreciate y'all for being with me, and I do have a fun time every time we get to hang out on YouTube. All right, Jay, I expect to see you in the team. We're with the team tomorrow. Yeah, I do it every single day, so I expect you to see you with the team. I don't go live on YouTube, but I go live with my team. So much love, guys. Stay safe out there, and hopefully you get the gap ups if you're in these plays with us. I'll send you out with a jam, one of my favorite jams from a band called Iration, which they just came out with a new album. You guys should check it out, but this is not from their album. Peace.